the headlines of this hour on VTV News. Bulgarian president starts official visit to Vietnam. And Vietnam's trade exceeds $681 billion. In our world news, conflict escalates despite calls for a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. I'm Huynh Trân with the top stories. On the morning of November 25th, at the Party Central Committee headquarters, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm delivered the opening speech at the Party Central Committee meeting. More to follow.
General Secretary Tô Lâm stated that, following the 10th Central Committee meeting, the Politburo and Secretariat have concentrated on two major priorities: accelerating breakthroughs to achieve and surpass the 2024 to 2025 goals, and ensuring thorough preparation for the successful organization of the 14th Party Congress. Since the 10th Central Committee meeting, the Politburo has conducted 7 meetings, and the Secretariat has held 5 meetings to provide feedback on 8 key matters. The Politburo will review and finalize important Congress documents, with a summary to be circulated for feedback in early December. On socio-economic development, the Politburo and Secretariat have led efforts to address challenges in investment, budget allocation, and real estate projects, particularly those under investigation or legal review. The Politburo also gave its opinion on several key areas: national energy infrastructure development, mineral and rare earth resource management, comprehensive waste reduction, digital transformation initiatives, and the advancement of science, technology, and innovation.
At the meeting on November 8th this year, the Politburo demonstrated strong political resolve to promptly and comprehensively summarize Resolution Number 18 as the basis for reporting to the Central Committee, with strong policies to continue to restructure and improve the organization and apparatus of the political system. This task must be done quickly and completed before the 14th Congress. Party members and people, including former leaders of the party and state, all agreed to strongly support these policies and its implementation in a coordinated manner.
Regarding the resumption of nuclear power research and development in Ning, General Secretary Tô Lâm announced that the Central Committee's report has authorized continued implementation to address future national energy infrastructure needs.
State President Lương Cường and his spouse hosted a welcoming ceremony on Monday morning for Bulgarian President Rumen Radev and his spouse, who are on an official visit to Vietnam. Following the ceremony, the two leaders held discussions to deepen bilateral relations. State President Lương Cường highlighted the importance of the visit ahead of the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two nations. He emphasized Vietnam's commitment to strengthening cooperation with Bulgaria, a priority partner in Central and Eastern Europe. President Radev, in return, affirmed that Vietnam is among Bulgaria's top partners in Southeast Asia and hopes to boost cooperation in all fields. The two leaders discussed specific measures to increase collaboration, especially in trade, investment, agriculture, culture, IT, mineral processing, and the environment. They agreed to foster high-level exchanges, support each other in multilateral forums, and tackle global challenges together. Now, by mid-November, Vietnam's total export-import value surpassed $681 billion, up 15.7% year-on-year. Now, of this figure, foreign invested enterprises accounted for over $460 billion, a 14% rise. While exports declined in machinery, phones, and parts, both textiles and wood products recorded growth. And on the import side, computer products, electronics, and components saw significant increases. In October, the seafood industry reached a significant milestone, achieving a monthly export turnover of $1 million. And according to businesses, the market is gradually opening up with demand rising, especially during year-end festivals. This presents an opportunity for export growth to surge, and industry forecasts suggest this year's seafood target will exceed expectations.
These golden, crispy fried shrimp are set to be exported to Europe. The company prioritizes deep processing and diversifying distribution channels to cater to a broader market. Their ultimate goal is to reach a 20% growth compared to 2023.
Initially, our products were primarily sold in Japan, but we later expanded into the European market, where prices remain favorable and stable.
This company is optimistic that strategies such as product diversification and expansion into new markets will help achieve an export growth rate of 10%.
We actively participate in international trade fairs and develop a range of value-added products from shark catfish. We've successfully exported to many markets.
The markets of China and the US have played pivotal roles in revitalizing Vietnamese seafood export growth, with export volumes to both nations surging by over 30% in November. As of the first 10 months of this year, Vietnam's seafood exports reached $8 billion. Businesses are hopeful that the year-end festival season will provide a boost to exports in the remaining months of 2024.
Consumers are preparing for a new consumption cycle. The festive season has shown promising signs with an uptick in orders, ensuring a steady volume of export contracts.
Favorable market conditions are driving the growth of Vietnam's seafood industry. Through quality improvements and market diversification, businesses are effectively competing in traditional markets while capturing opportunities in emerging ones. The seafood sector remains confident in reaching its export target of $10 billion this year.
Financial institutions are increasing personal consumer loans and lowering interest rates as year-end consumer demand rises. Vietnam's current outstanding balance is approximately $114 to $118 billion, representing over 20% of the economy's total credit balance. And with significant growth potential, consumer credit helps curb informal lending while supporting up production and business activities.
Since the beginning of November, this car showroom has delivered an average of 10 to 20 new cars per day. Theo and his wife decided to purchase a new car in preparation for their newborn.
We decided to buy the car now because of the reduced registration tax and the significant government support.
Currently, 40% of customers choose bank loans using either the vehicle itself or other assets like real estate as collateral.
To buy this Elantra for $23,600, consumer can borrow up to 85% of the cost from the bank.
Every month, we disperse around $300 million to meet the needs of individual customers. Customers can prove their repayment ability with only a few documents and their ID card, with the approval process taking around 5 minutes.
In cases where loans are secured with collateral, the interest rate is usually lower, around 6% per year, with a maximum loan term of up to 30 years. For unsecured loans, the interest rate is typically 2% higher, and the borrower must have a better credit and purchasing history.
The range of customers seeking consumer loans is diverse, with various needs across regions, incomes, and financial situations. By analyzing credit scoring models, we can identify and target the right customer profiles from the outset. Additionally, it is important to monitor and verify the use of the loan funds.
While banks offer larger loans for home renovations and car purchases, many consumers also seek smaller loans between $400 and $4,000. This electronic supermarket has seen a 50% increase in sales during the year-end period, with young couples, students, and workers frequently using installment plans or consumer loans to finance their purchases.
We have been working with banks to produce a list of over 1,000 goods that are eligible for first-year loans at 0% interest or favorable fixed interest rates.
Currently, for loans under $4,000, customers only need to provide basic information about their loan purpose and ability to repay. Vietnam's consumer loan market for small value loans and buy now, pay later services is expected to grow by over 40%, reaching nearly $2 billion this year. This market size is projected to grow 4 to 5 times over the next 5 years.
Vietnam is committed to promoting green production and reducing emissions to protect the environment. While most Vietnamese enterprises are small and medium-sized with limited resources, surveys show that over 65% have initiated the green transition in the past 3 years.
For the past 2 years, a Vietnamese cosmetics manufacturer has replaced chemical ingredients with natural alternatives. The company partners with raw materials suppliers holding international certifications to ensure transparency in product origins.
Using natural input materials raises our costs by 10 to 15%, but we believe this will eventually lead to a breakthrough for consumers.
A recent survey revealed that over 70% of small and medium-sized enterprises face significant challenges in transitioning to green production. These include issues with capital, technology, human resources, and increased production costs up to 20% higher, particularly in the domestic market.
The costs of upgrading production technology and meeting international standards, including expenses for training, system setup, and assessments, are significant obstacles for small and medium-sized businesses.
Support in terms of capital, market access, tax incentives, and policies can help reduce costs. In the past 6 months, the price of green, clean, and organic products has dropped by 5 to 10%.
Nearly 50% of businesses that have adopted green practices report benefits such as easier access to loans and tax incentives. However, these measures will soon become a necessity, as the European market is set to impose strict emissions controls on most imported products starting next year.
Now, before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate of today, November 25th. Coming up next on VTV News. Vietnam introduces stricter gaming limits for youngsters. And Ning Festival 2024 kicks off. Now moving on to other news, recent floods in Quảng Ngãi have caused severe damage to homes, infrastructure, and transportation. The water level at Theo River remains at alarm level 3, flooding more than 90 households in Đức Phổ district. Floodwaters have reached depths of 0.5 to 1.5 meters in homes. Local traffic has been severely disrupted, with highway number 24 at high risk of landslides. 2 provincial and 5 communal roads have sustained severe damage. Dangerous landslides along rivers and coastlines are threatening residents' lives. Local authorities are evacuating residents and working to minimize damage. Over the past 2 months, farmers in Lào Cai, Yên Bái, and Cao Bằng provinces have been working to restore production. In addition to central government support, the Prime Minister has recently approved a 2% increase in the 2024 credit plan for the Vietnam Bank for Social Policies, equivalent to $192 million. This funding is designated for people in mountainous areas affected by recent natural disasters to help them recover production. Localities have quickly dispersed the additional capital to affected households, enabling them to stabilize their lives.
In Chen Yen district, 223 hectares of mulberry gardens were damaged by flooding, with over 90 hectares requiring complete replanting, a significant loss for Viet Thanh commune, a key mulberry growing area. The entire mulberry garden of Nguyễn Anh Du's family was ruined by high acidity after the flood. He was forced to destroy the garden and start anew.
I used the local support money to restore my garden, from buying fertilizer and seedlings to hiring workers.
So far, we have lent 1.5 million USD to households in the locality to help them recover from the consequences of the storm and flood.
Yên Bái and Lao Cai provinces have completed their review of households affected by natural disasters and implemented rapid disbursement to restore production. In Lao Cai, $5.5 million of policy capital has been promptly disbursed to communes. Having lost all of his corn and cassava due to landslides, Hoàng Minh Dũng was able to borrow $2,000 to restart production. With the funds, he bought soybeans for tofu production, corn for animal feed, and additional breeding animals.
I hope to sell my herd of pigs, weighing about 500 kilograms, this coming Tet.
We have launched movements to mobilize resources from all communes, villages, and residents to restore production this winter crop.
Many resources and programs are continuing to support and assist households in disaster-hit areas, helping them restore production and stabilize their lives.
Now, under new regulations, players under 18 can play games for a maximum of 180 minutes daily. Game developers must implement playtime limits for this age group using various technical measures. These requirements are central to the government's recently issued Decree 147. The regulations aim to improve gaming market oversight and protect young people from gaming's negative effects.
Under the new decree, players under 18 are limited to 60 minutes of gaming time daily, with a 180-minute total cap across all games. Game publishers must implement systems to enforce these limits and display warnings on players' devices at 30-minute intervals.
Continuous warnings will help players recognize the health risks, thereby reducing them effectively. Businesses must calculate the impact to balance safety with user experience.
The decree mandates that game publishers verify player accounts using mobile phone numbers in Vietnam. For players under 16, accounts must be registered with parental or guardian information.
User information verification also benefits businesses by providing better customer insights and enhancing the protection of customer data. This aligns with what businesses aim to achieve.
Game providers will soon be required to label their games with age ratings. Additionally, the Ministry of Information and Communications will mandate that App Store operators verify licensed games and remove any unlicensed ones.
We are commissioning tech companies to develop monitoring software for commercialization next year. There will be more inspections, and those allowing youngsters over 60 minutes of playtime will face strict penalties.
The regulations in Decree 147 aim to create a safe and healthy gaming environment, protect players, especially children, and promote the sustainable growth of Vietnam's gaming industry.
A ceremony was held on Sunday night to celebrate the 15th anniversary of UNESCO's recognition of Bắc Ning's Guan folk songs as an intangible cultural heritage. The National Assembly's Vice Chair Nguyễn Thị Thanh praised the province for its dedication and achievements in preserving and promoting this cultural treasure. She encouraged the province to continue following the party's directives and government regulations while developing appropriate mechanisms and policies to support Guan artists. She also asked the locality to expand efforts to teach this art form to younger generations and maintain Guan club activities to promote heritage cultural spaces in the region. Also on Sunday night, the opening ceremony for the third Ninh Bình Festival was held with Lê Hoài Trung, Head of Commission for External Relations, in attendance. Theme Heritage Flow, the 2024 festival features various cultural activities, highlighted by the first ever electronic folk music grand concert. The concert will take place during the closing ceremony at the Thung Nham Eco-Tourism Zone. And through this festival, Ning aims to strengthen its position as a millennial heritage city and promote its culture and people to both domestic and international visitors. With over 300 islands, the Katba archipelago is renowned for its stunning beaches and pristine forests. Natural treasures nestle within a majestic landscape. Mid-September marks the beginning of the region's most beautiful season, drawing visitors to this World Heritage Site who come to experience its peaceful coastal atmosphere during late autumn and early winter.
The small path that connects the two Katba beaches is a popular spot for tourists to stroll during sunset. Many years ago, Florence was impressed with Katba's beauty in the fall. She returned to the island this year with the person she wishes to spend her life with.
When I came as a child, I remember thinking this was the most beautiful place in the whole world. And I came with my family, so I wanted to bring my boyfriend to show him how beautiful it was. And the food is amazing, and the landscape is beautiful, so it was the perfect destination.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful place. You can just sort of have a look around, and it's fantastic. And also this time of year, personally for me, I struggle with the heat, and it's just a really perfect kind of temperature, mid-20 degrees.
During fall, Lanhat Bay transforms into a dreamy landscape. Its calm seas, limestone islands, and the pristine white beaches create a serene natural sanctuary for visitors.
This is awesome because in my country there isn't nothing similar like this. There are very different between them.
In the fall, Katba offers a cool, refreshing climate and a tranquil pace of life that contrasts sharply with the busy summer tourist season. The forest of Katba National Park displays stunning autumn colors, creating an ideal setting for mountain trekkers exploring its natural beauty.
Coming up next in our world news. Conflict escalates despite calls for ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. And COP29 reaches agreement on carbon credit market. Now moving on to our world news, fierce fighting continues between the Israeli army and Hezbollah in Lebanon, despite an appeal for an immediate ceasefire from the EU special envoy in the region. Israel on Sunday carried out airstrikes on Hezbollah's stronghold in the southern suburbs of Beirut. The strikes caused widespread destruction. In response, Hezbollah fired a barrage of heavy missiles into Israel, targeting military sites and nearby areas. The Israel Defense Forces said Hezbollah fired 170 rockets into the country, injuring at least 4 people. The European Union's EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Josep Borrell, warned that Lebanon was on the brink of collapse after Israel launched an air campaign 2 months ago. EU officials called for pressure to be put on both the Israeli government and Hezbollah to accept the U.S. ceasefire proposal. The fifth and final round of talks by the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee on Plastic Pollution began in Busan, South Korea on November 25th. The previous 4 rounds have failed to reach a global agreement on plastic pollution. The central issue is whether to regulate the production of polymers, key materials derived from fossil fuels. The UK, Germany, France, Japan, South Korea, and several EU countries have called for restrictions on plastic production. Meanwhile, the Global Alliance for Plastic Sustainability, representing major oil-producing countries, pushes for a greater focus on plastic waste management and recycling. The week-long meeting in Busan aims to break this deadlock and reach a common agreement, though the chances of a breakthrough remain slim. The United Nations Climate Change Conference COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, has reached an agreement on rules for a global carbon credit market. This marks a significant breakthrough, as carbon market mechanisms previously operated only at national or regional levels, without proper integration or coordination.
The agreement focuses on creating reliable methods to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Projects in developing countries, such as planting trees or building wind farms, generate carbon credits, with 1 credit earned for 8 tons of emission prevented. These credits can then be purchased by countries and companies to have achieved their climate goals.
International carbon markets have done badly, actually could be detrimental to emission reductions, but now the rules that have been set and decided tonight, they provide a really good basis which is more robust, more credible.
The new agreement also allows for a centralized trading system run by the United Nations to be launched as early as next year. The market is expected to raise billions of dollars for new projects to curb global warming, from reforestation to clean energy. The value of the global carbon credit trading market, backed by the United Nations, is estimated to reach $250 billion a year by 2030.
The iconic Champs-Élysées Avenue in Paris has lit up once again, marking the start of France's festive season. Thousands of tourists and locals have eagerly waited this brilliant light show. And as in previous years, 400 trees along the world's most beautiful avenue sparkle with millions of LED bulbs. The Christmas trees and lights have brought a festive atmosphere to the city. The Champs-Élysées will continue to shine every night until January 5th. Now, as usual, let's move on to the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel, VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.